The hum of Athena 9's command deck usually soothed Commander Arden Hale. It was the sound of order, predictable rhythms of starship diagnostics, quiet chatter of officers, and the distant pulse of Earth's orbital beacons. Today, though, something felt off. He stood before the panoramic viewport, hands clasped behind his back, studying the glittering curve of Earth below. "Fleet drills completed, sir," Lieutenant Mara Vance reported. "All ships are holding formation." Hale nodded, yet unease clung to him. "Run another sweep on the outer perimeter." "Something's wrong." "Anything specific?" she asked. "Instinct," Hale replied. "Do it anyway." Sensors rarely disagreed with him. His instincts had been sharpened during the first skirmish humanity suffered, a brutal border ambush that cost thousands of lives, including his sister's. Since then, he'd learned to trust the quiet tug of warning that surfaced before disaster struck. Mara relayed the command. Operators re-engaged the perimeter analysis, their screens flickering with updated readings. For a moment, everything appeared normal: stable gravitational fields, no unusual energy signatures, no fleet activity near the moon. Then a ripple appeared. Faint, but unnatural. "Sir, picking up a distortion near geosynchronous orbit," an analyst said. "Not matching any known Terran pattern." "How large?" Hale asked, turning sharply. "Widening by the second." Alarms flashed crimson. Data spiked. The distortion expanded with sudden violence, tearing across sensor grids like claws raking through fabric. "Multiple contacts!" another officer shouted. "Unknown vessels, hundreds, no, thousands!" A cold weight settled in Hale's chest. He didn't need an identification chart to understand what he was seeing. The files from the border massacre were burned into his memory, the sleek, angular silhouettes, the prow-like front sections shaped for intimidation. The Galactic Empire had arrived. Without warning, without message, without restraint. "Put them on visual," Hale ordered. The viewport darkened, then brightened again as holographic overlays shimmered into existence. Dozens of Titanic warships materialized in perfect formation above Earth, their hulls black as void stone. 1,000 smaller escorts fanned out behind them, forming a lattice of metal and menace. Mara whispered, "God, they found us." No one on the deck breathed. No one moved. The Empire was the scourge of half the Orion Arm, known for erasing civilizations that refused obedience. Yet Earth had remained quiet, isolated, insignificant, or so humanity had hoped. A comm window forced itself onto the main display. Static hissed, then twisted into the face of a towering alien figure, obsidian skin, ridged crown, eyes burning with cold discipline. "High Marshal Veroxkin." "Terrans," he declared, his voice a resonant vibration that shook every speaker on Athena 9. "Your seclusion ends today. Kneel to the Galactic Empire. Swear loyalty. Deliver tribute. Failure to comply results in total erasure." Hale stepped forward, jaw tightening. "This is unprovoked aggression. Earth has violated no border, threatened no world. Your existence is offense enough," Verox replied. "Submit now." Earth's council attempted to respond. Diplomatic channels opened, ambassadors pleaded for negotiation, yet Verox dismissed them with a flick of his clawed hand. The calm cut. The Empire fired. Earth's tranquil orbit ignited with brutal clarity. Lances of searing energy carved through satellites and defense platforms in the opening volley. Hale's officers sprang into motion. "Shields up! Prepare counterfire! Mobilize the Valiant's fleet group! Evacuate Athena 9's lower decks!" Hale silenced the overlapping voices with a single command. "Focus on Earth. Divert every defense battery to protect civilian hubs." A tactical map unfolded across the viewport, marking cities under direct threat. Firestorms bloomed over continents as strikes penetrated the atmosphere. Millions were suddenly fighting for their lives. Mara stared at the data, voice trembling. "They're targeting population centers. No military logic. Just slaughter." "It's not conquest," Hale said. "It's extermination." The memory returned unbidden, his sister reaching for him through a shattered evacuation corridor, her voice drowned by explosions. He forced the image aside. This wasn't the time to mourn. Helm, he ordered. Take us toward Earth at maximum burn. Clear a path through the Empire's forward line. The Valiant surged from Athena 9 like a spear of white fire, engines pushing into red line. Human ships across orbit complied, converging to defend their home. Yet the Empire dwarfed them, its armada extended like an iron curtain across the heavens. Despite the chaos, Hale maintained clarity. Target their communication relays. Sever their command structure. If Verox can't coordinate, they lose formation advantage. Weapons officers obeyed. Plasma casters unleashed devastating bursts, ripping into nodes of the Empire's lattice network. Several enemy ships staggered, drifting as their coordination faltered. A spark of hope flickered in the Terran lines. But it wasn't enough. Not yet. Earth needed unity. Humanity needed a single answer, not a fractured plea. Open a planetary broadcast, Hale said. All frequencies. Mara's fingers flew across her console. You're live. Hale didn't shout. He didn't roar. His voice carried strength because it was steady. People of Earth. The Galactic Empire believes fear defines us. They believe isolation makes us weak. They believe humanity will kneel. He paused, letting silence coil tightly around every listener. They are wrong. He lifted his gaze toward the burning world below, illuminated by both destruction and defiance. Our answer is simple. Across every Terran screen, speaker, and emergency beacon, the message appeared in one word. No. The word blasted outward into the void, carried by the fastest comm rays humanity possessed. It wasn't a plea. It wasn't negotiation. It was refusal, absolute, immovable, human. Verox responded with renewed bombardment, yet something had changed. The Terran defense network pushed harder. Civilians fought to save each other. Medics, engineers, volunteers, every last one of them refused surrender. Humanity's quiet centuries were over. Mara looked at Hale as the Valiant punched through another wave of enemy fire. What now, sir? Hale's eyes locked onto the Empire's formation, then the wounded world beneath. The ache in his chest hardened into purpose. No, he said. We make them regret ever coming here. The chapter closed with Earth burning, but not broken. Humanity had spoken. And the galaxy would soon learn the price of underestimating a species that refuses to kneel. The fires over Earth had barely begun to fade when the Terran Accord Council convened in the subterranean chamber beneath Geneva. Screens displayed live feeds of burning cities, damaged orbital platforms, and rescue corridors filled with civilians. The atmosphere carried the weight of panic, fear pressed against every breath. Commander Arden Hale stood before the Council's central podium, uniform scorched, eyes sharp. He had come straight from the battlefield. The councilors murmured as he entered. Some saw hope in him, others saw a reminder of how close humanity had come to annihilation. Councilor Ishera Tomlin spoke first. Commander Hale, we require assessment. Can Earth withstand another strike? Not if we keep reacting instead of acting, Hale replied. His voice was even, but the tension beneath it was unmistakable. The Galactic Empire will not negotiate. They attacked without provocation. Their doctrine is extermination. Councillor Vance, eldest on the board, leaned forward. Our forces are scattered. We've lost platforms and key defense grids. A counterattack risks total collapse. Hale met his gaze. Doing nothing guarantees collapse. The chamber fell silent. Outside, rescue sirens echoed through Geneva's lower levels. Humanity had survived the opening blow, but survival alone meant nothing if another wave followed. Councillor Ishera asked, What do you propose? A strike on their nearest supply outpost, Hale answered. Theta Garen. It refuels and coordinates their forward fleets. If we cripple it, they lose momentum. They're not expecting resistance. They believe we're prey. A murmur rippled around the room. So we hit them first? Ishara asked. We make them stumble, Hale corrected. Then we push until they break. Some hesitated, but others nodded. Humanity's refusal, no, had already reached every channel. The moment demanded action worthy of that word. After a brief debate, the Council approved Hale's proposal. They understood that fear could not dictate humanity's future. When the meeting adjourned, Ishara approached Hale privately. You're carrying too much weight, Arden. This vengeance, be careful. He shook his head. This isn't vengeance. It's necessity. But as he walked away, he wasn't sure he believed that entirely. Hours later, the TDS Valiant prepared for launch alongside 6 frigates and 2 cruisers, forming a compact strike fleet. Engineers swarmed over hull plating, loading newly forged weapon cells, tightening cables, running last-minute calibrations. The battered nation had turned into a forge, producing tools for survival with astonishing speed. Hale stepped aboard, greeted by familiar faces. The bridge held subtle traces of smoke from earlier combat, an unintentional reminder of what they were fighting for. Lieutenant Mara Vance approached him with a data pad. Fleet synced and ready. Intelligence confirms Strategizing hosts a command relay and fuel reserves. Minimal garrison. Minimal for them, Hale said. Still overwhelming for us unless we strike precisely. Mara hesitated before speaking again. I saw the casualty reports. Geneva alone lost tens of thousands. He paused. We save who we can. We defend who remains. That's our purpose. And beyond that? He glanced at the tactical display, the Empire's formation, the ash of ruined defense platforms. Beyond that, we show them humanity doesn't vanish quietly. The fleet folded into slip space, emerging hours later near the Strategizing Nebula. A series of obsidian structures floated around a central spire, connected by beams of pale energy. Dozens of Empire vessels patrolled lazily, confident no threat could reach this far. Hale stood at the command rail. We strike in 3 phases. Phase 1, disable outer patrols with silent torpedoes. Phase 2, jam their relay grid. Phase 3, overload the refinery core. Acknowledged, Mara said. Ready when you are. Fire. Silent torpedoes streaked out, leaving no trace until they detonated against patrol ships. The patrol lines shattered before alarms could register. Hale exploited their confusion immediately. Bring us in. Target relay nodes. The Valiant surged forward, releasing spirals of electromagnetic bursts that severed command channels. The Empire's ships scrambled without coordination, firing at shadows. Human frigates sliced through the chaos with stunning precision. Plasma casters ripped hulls apart, and gravity mines pinned larger cruisers in place, leaving them exposed to concentrated strikes. Within minutes, Strategizing's perimeter collapsed. Open channel, Hale ordered. A panicked Empire commander flickered onto the display, mandibles clenching. Terran vessel, identify your intent. Our intent is exactly what you forced upon us, Hale answered. Remove your fleet. Or we remove it for you. You dare. A blast from the Valiant's forward cannon ended the transmission, and the ship he commanded. Humanity's first offensive victory unfolded in less than an hour. The supply outpost destabilized, its central refinery glowing with unstable energy. Core overload in 2 minutes, Mara reported. Pull the fleet back, Hale ordered. We're done here. The explosion came seconds after their retreat, a brilliant expansion of blue-white plasma that devoured the outpost entirely. The shockwave illuminated the nebula, painting the darkness with streaks of light. A cheer erupted across the Valiant's bridge. Officers who had felt powerless only hours earlier now saw proof of their strength. Hale allowed himself a small breath. One battle didn't win a war, but it restored something Earth desperately needed: belief. Sir? Mara called. Incoming transmission. It's refugees. Refugees? Hale repeated. A vessel drifted toward them, scarred, barely functional. It carried survivors from a species ravaged by the Empire. Their leader, a gaunt alien with trembling limbs, appeared on screen. "We saw your attack," the alien said weakly. "We thought humans enslaved newcomers as the Empire did. But your ships, they didn't fire on us." "You're safe," Hale assured him. "We don't harm the innocent." The alien bowed its head, relief washing over its expression. "If you protect us, we will aid you in any way we can." Hale nodded. "We don't abandon allies." Returning to Earth, Hale reviewed data captured from Theta Garin. Among the files was a detailed schematic of an enormous fortress, the citadel of Valor, Verox's command stronghold. Deep within the blueprint, engineers found an anomaly, a flaw in the fortress's star reactor conduit. It was small, but real. Mara leaned beside Hale as he studied the projection. "A weakness?" "A possibility," he said. "If we reach the citadel, we end the war." She inhaled slowly. "Then Verox will never forgive this." "He doesn't need to," Hale said. "We're not asking forgiveness." The fires over Earth still burned, but humanity had found a path forward. Their answer to extinction was not surrender, but strategy. Hale closed the projection. "Prepare the fleet. The Empire won't stop. Neither will we." The ruins of Theta Garin still glowed faintly on the Valiant's hollow table as Commander Arden Hale and his senior officers gathered for the next briefing. The victory had energized Earth, but Hale knew momentum alone wouldn't secure survival. The Empire would retaliate, brutally, decisively, unless humanity advanced faster than their enemy anticipated. Dr. Ilara Wynn, lead scientist aboard the Valiant, stepped forward. "We've completed analysis of the captured Empire fragments," she announced. "Their shield matrices, weapons, and reactor systems use layered harmonic frequencies. Once we identified the pattern, we found ways to disrupt it." Hale folded his arms. "Disrupt how?" "We engineered a hybrid variant," Ilara replied, pulling up schematics. "Our superconductors stabilize their unstable plasma streams. It increases output, reduces heat, and enhances shield efficiency." "So we can match them?" Lieutenant Mara Vance asked. Ilara shook her head. "Not match. Surpass." A quiet satisfaction rippled across the room. Humanity hadn't merely caught up, they'd leaped ahead. Before Hale could respond, Commander Rios interrupted. "Sir, new data from the refugees network. Multiple worlds are rebelling. Word of our strike at Theta Garin spread fast." Hale studied the map. Entire sectors flickered with activity, uprisings, sabotage, escaped prisoners. A wave of resistance had erupted, sparked by humanity's refusal to kneel. It wasn't strategy alone, it was inspiration. Mara exhaled quietly. "We've become a symbol. Symbols carry responsibility," Hale said. "If these rebellions collapse, their deaths fall on us. We need to give them something they can rally behind, a decisive blow." Rios nodded. "Proian Gate, sir. The Empire uses it to anchor transit routes. If we hold Proian, we block their access to Earth." Hale considered it. A direct confrontation at Proian would be dangerous. The Empire would send a massive force to protect it. But the alternative was waiting for another attack on Earth. "We make our stand there," he decided. "Prepare the fleet." The journey to Proian Gate carried a tense anticipation. The human vessels, now upgraded with hybrid systems, thrummed with renewed power. Engineers whispered about the ships as though they were living creatures awakening. When the fleet entered the system, the Proian Gate dominated the void, a colossal ring suspended near the star, swirling with unstable spatial currents. Empire cruisers clustered around it, forming a defensive shell. Rios surveyed the readings. "Empire forces are preparing reinforcement arrival. We're early, but not by much." Hale nodded. "Then we act before they consolidate." He activated the fleet-wide channel. "All ships, execute the maneuver plan. Phase 1, draw their patrols off the main axis. Phase 2, collapse their formation. Phase 3, neutralize the gate." The Valiant moved with lethal grace, cutting across the Empire's perimeter. Human frigates darted between enemy lines, firing synchronized shock pulses that disoriented their sensors. The Empire attempted to regroup, but the Terran ships were too fast, too coordinated. One Empire captain appeared briefly on tactical comms. "Terran vessels, you violate an Imperial stronghold. Withdraw or face." Rios ended the channel with a sigh. They never learn. Proian Gate erupted into chaos. The Terran fleet split into precise wings, weaving through enemy fire. Hale's upgraded plasma lances tore across Empire hulls, carving through armor once considered impenetrable. Their formation crackled, lines collapsing under relentless pressure. "Enemy reinforcements inbound," Mara warned. "A full Purity fleet detachment." Hale's jaw tightened. The Purity fleet was Verox's elite. Their arrival meant the Empire was no longer underestimating humanity. "Redirect energy to forward shields," he said. "Bring us between the gate and the reinforcements. They can't reach Proian if we block the path." The Valiant accelerated, engines blazing. As the Empire reinforcements surged in, their flagship spearheaded the assault, a jagged warship twice the size of anything in the Terran fleet. Verox himself appeared on the comm projection, eyes like burning coals. "Terran commander," Verox growled. "You dare challenge the Purity fleet?" Hale met his stare calmly. "You attacked our home. You slaughtered our people. You will not pass." Verox bared his teeth in a cruel approximation of a smile. "Then die with your world." The connection cut, and the battle intensified. The Purity fleet hammered the Terran line with overwhelming fire. Several human ships took critical damage. Hale's fleet held, but barely. "Sir," Mara warned, "if we continue at this rate, we'll lose half our force before the gate falls." Hale's gaze locked onto the turbulence swirling beneath the Proian Gate. He had been watching it since their arrival, mapping every shift, every distortion. "Divert all remaining mines to Grid 12. He commanded. Mara hesitated. "That grid lies directly along the enemy's reinforcement path." "Exactly." The mines detonated in a cascading wave. Gravity warped violently, dragging several Empire vessels into unstable currents. The Purity fleet broke formation, forced to retreat from the distorted region or face destruction. Hale seized the opportunity. "Concentrate fire on the gate!" Every Terran vessel unleashed its arsenal. The gate trembled, arcs of energy crackling along its spine. A moment later, it imploded, collapsing into a vortex that swallowed debris and violently stabilized into silence. The reinforcement route was cut. Empire's ships scrambled without orders, their coordination faltering. The Terran fleet surged forward, routing the remaining vessels. After 30 more minutes of relentless engagement, the Empire retreated entirely from the Proian system. The fleeing flagship flickered briefly on comms, Verox's silhouette barely visible. He stared at Hale with a fury that transcended language, then vanished into the void. The battle won, the Terran fleet regrouped. Engineers worked frantically to stabilize damaged ships, while medical teams tended to the wounded. The cost had been high, but the victory was undeniable. Mara approached Hale quietly. "Proian is ours. Earth finally has breathing room." "For now," Hale replied. Elara joined them, holding a datapad. "We completed the citadel analysis. The flaw in its star reactor conduit is real. It's small, but if we reach it, the entire fortress becomes vulnerable." Hale studied the schematic. The path was narrow, the challenge immense, but decisive. "What's your conclusion?" Mara asked him. "That the Empire believes fear is absolute," Hale said. "They're wrong. Today proved it. We take this fight to Valor next." Rios approached with new reports. "Revolts are escalating across Imperial space. Worlds we never contacted are rising. Our stand at Proian galvanized them." Hale looked at the star map, where countless embers of rebellion glowed. Each one a spark of hope. "Ensure they know we're not stopping," he said. "The Empire pushed humanity too far." He closed the datapad, certainty settling over him. "Now we push back." The largest Terran fleet ever assembled drifted in formation above Earth, each vessel gleaming with hybrid technology engineered in desperation and sharpened through war. What began as scattered defense groups had become an armada, humanity's shield, blade, and declaration. Commander Arden Hale stood on the Valiant's bridge, watching final preparations unfold across the tactical display. Engineers completed last-minute calibrations. Pilots ran flight drills. Medical teams stocked emergency stations. Every person aboard carried the weight of what awaited them beyond the stars. Mara Vance approached quietly. All ships report ready. Civilian networks are broadcasting messages for you. People want to see their commander. Hale hesitated. He disliked speeches, but this moment wasn't about him. It was about letting Earth know it still mattered. Patch me through, he said. A soft tone signaled the connection. Hale addressed Billions. Humanity, he began. You've endured loss that would have broken any other world. Yet you stand. You rebuild. You fight for one another. Today we carry your strength with us into the heart of the Empire. He paused, letting the silence anchor his words. The citadel of Valor is their throne, their weapon, and their belief that terror wins wars. We're going to remove it. Not for revenge, but for every life they tried to erase. His voice remained steady. We do not kneel. Not now. Not ever. He ended the transmission. Mara exhaled softly. They needed that. So did we, Hale admitted. Set course for Valor. Slip space opened around the fleet like a vast, shimmering corridor. The transition lasted minutes but felt heavier than any jump they'd taken before. When they emerged, a harsh blue star dominated the view, burning with unstable energy. Orbiting it was the Citadel. The fortress was colossal, larger than any Imperial world Hale had seen. Layers of armored plating wrapped around a central spire, while thousands of gun emplacements formed a glowing lattice of red energy lines. It wasn't built to intimidate. It was built to end civilizations. Rios broke the silence. Purity fleet detected. They're forming a blockade around the Citadel. At least 1,000 ships. Mara added. They expected us. Hale nodded. Then let's give them a reason to doubt their expectations. As if summoned by his thoughts, a transmission forced itself onto the Valiant's screens. High Marshal Verox materialized, wounded from Proian, armor scorched, crown cracked. Terran, he snarled. You persist longer than anticipated. I commend your stubbornness. It will make your fall more satisfying. Hale stepped forward. This ends today, Verox. Not with Earth burned, but with your empire collapsing. Verox's smile held nothing human. Terrans misunderstand their place. You were meant to kneel. Hale's answer was quiet, but absolute. Humanity kneels only to honor the dead. The calm severed. The battle began instantly. The Purity fleet surged toward the Terran line. Hale's ships moved with synchronized precision, weaving through the enemy's formation. Hybrid shields absorbed impacts that would have shattered older vessels. Plasma lances carved holes through Imperial armor. Enemy cruisers on our right flank, Rios called. Redirect Wing 2, Hale ordered. Push them toward the star's magnetic field. A squadron of Terran frigates darted in, driving the cruisers into turbulent space. The unstable field tore the Empire's ships apart, scattering debris into molten fragments. But for every Imperial loss, 10 more replaced them. The Citadel's guns joined the assault, unleashing torrents of fire that shook the fabric of space. Valiant's shields at 60%, Mara announced. Hold, Hale said. We need to breach the inner ring. As the battle raged, Terran carriers launched boarding craft toward the Citadel, protected by destroyer screens. Hale's infiltration team moved to the launch bay. They were equipped with reinforced suits, magnetic boots, and compact plasma cutters. Mara stepped beside him. You're leading the infiltration personally? Yes. You might not make it back. I know. She held his gaze for a moment. Then finish it. The infiltration craft detached from the Valiant and raced toward the Citadel, under heavy fire. Imperial turrets tracked them instantly. "Evasive pattern Delta!" Hale yelled. The pilot dove between energy beams, rolled under a barrage, and soared toward a maintenance vent near the lower reactor wing. They clipped the craft against the plating and sliced an entry hatch open. Inside, the citadel pulsed with rhythmic energy. Conduits glowed along the walls. The air vibrated with the hum of the star reactor buried in the core. "Move!" Hale ordered. They sprinted down dark corridors, dispatching Imperial guards with swift, silent strikes. The citadel's scale dwarfed anything Hale had infiltrated before. Cathedral-like halls, shafts stretching into infinity, bridges suspended over chasms of machinery. They reached the reactor chamber. It was breathtaking, an enormous sphere suspended above swirling plasma streams. The flaw discovered in the schematics lay along a narrow access conduit leading to the regulatory core. Ilara's voice came through comms. "If you destabilize the control node, the entire reactor collapses. You'll have minutes to escape at best." "That's enough," Hale said. Before he could proceed, a heavy door opened across the chamber. Varrox stepped through, wielding a blade charged with crackling blue energy. "Running from your death?" Varrox taunted. "Or embracing it?" Hale drew his sidearm. "This ends now." They clashed in a blur of motion. Varrox swung with brutal, sweeping strikes, each one capable of splitting armor. Hale countered, ducking and firing bursts that forced Varrox back. Sparks rained as metal met energy. Varrox lunged. Hale sidestepped, slammed his fist into the alien's throat, and fired point-blank into his armor. Varrox staggered but refused to fall. "You fight well," Varrox growled. "For something destined to vanish." Hale raised his weapon. "Humanity isn't vanishing today." He fired. Varrox collapsed, armor cracking open as he fell to the floor. Hale didn't wait. He moved to the conduit, placed the destabilization charges, and activated them. Alarms blared instantly. The reactor sphere brightened, veins of unstable light crawling across its surface. "Charges set," Hale said. "Evacuating now." His team sprinted back through the corridors as the citadel began to tremble. Plasma eruptions tore through the lower decks. The infiltration craft ignited its engines the moment they jumped aboard. The citadel detonated behind them in a breathtaking explosion, a collapsing sun consuming the fortress in a violent implosion. Imperial ships scattered. Many were caught in the blast and vaporized. Others fled in disarray, formation broken. The Purity fleet shattered. The Terran armada watched the citadel's collapse ripple across the battlefield. When Hale's craft reappeared near the Valiant, cheers surged across every comm channel. Mara met him in the bay, relief softening her expression. "You did it!" "We did," Hale corrected. Across the galaxy, news of the Citadel's destruction ignited revolts into full liberation. The Empire fractured, then fell entirely under the weight of its own tyranny. Humanity didn't claim dominion. They offered protection, alliances, and rebuilding. Hale stood on the Valiant's bridge, watching the distant blue star fade behind drifting Imperial wreckage. Earth glowed far away, still wounded, but alive. He whispered to himself,